Hey guys, this is Ryan with Mama on Mission, and today I have a very special video for you. So I got together with a few of my favorite homeschooling moms, and we were able to film kind of a miniature conference call, if you will. And this was hosted by Becky over at Russell's Living Life. She put all this together for us, and we came up with some questions, and all of us have answered them. But I'm only going to fill you in on the questions that I answered. And if you would like to see every question that was in this collaboration, I invite you to check out the playlist down below and see questions from answered by all of the moms. And these are moms from all across the country with different homeschooling styles, with different amounts of kids, with different family dynamics, working, not working, special needs kids. We have a little bit of everything. So I highly encourage you, if you are a homeschool mom or are thinking about homeschooling, this is a super fun but yet valuable resource for you. So please check out the playlist down below. So without further ado, here are the answers to my questions.
Okay, I am here with an awesome group of homeschool moms, and we are going to answer some questions. So I'm going to introduce myself. I am the host. I am Becky, and this is Russell's Loving Life. I am a homeschooling mom of 2, and I have been homeschooling for 6 years. So let's start with Nina. Introduce yourself and your YouTube channel.
I'm Nina from Everyday Blessing. I'm a homeschooling mom with 5 kids at home, 6 kids total, and I have been homeschooling for 3.5 years.
All right, Katie, you're next.
I'm Katie with Life of the Mundane. I have 6 kiddos, and we have been homeschooling for about 5 years, but it feels like a lot longer because I'm a second-generation homeschooler. So I've gotten to be the student and the teacher, and so that's been kind of fun. So it feels like my whole life that I've been homeschooling.
All right, Leilani.
I'm Leilani. I have my channel, Living with Eve. I have 4 kids. I've been homeschooling them, so he's in 4th grade, so that's 5 years. And I mean, that's it. And so what is it? 4th grade, 2nd grade, kindergarten.
All right, Ryan.
I'm Ryan, I'm on Mission, and I have 3 boys. We've been homeschooling for 4 years, 6 years if you count preschool. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Yasmin.
Hi, Mommy on the Move here. I have 4 kids, and I have been homeschooling for 1 year.
All right, and Colleen.
Hey, I'm Colleen. My channel is called Our Blessed Life. I am homeschooling 2 girls. One is entering 11th grade this upcoming year, and the other is entering 2nd grade. And this is going to be upcoming my 9th year homeschooling.
And Ingrid.
Hi, my name is Ingrid from the Ingrid Chronicles. I have 5 girls, 2 are home. The others are adults. I have been homeschooling for 5 years now. And yeah, that's it.
All right, and the first question I'm going to ask, and all of us are kind of going to give a short rundown, is what curriculums do we use? And I'll start. Most of us are eclectic. We use different curriculums depending on our children, but my main curriculum that I use is My Father's World. I teach a kindergartner and a 5th grader currently right now. So that is the curriculum I use. Nina, you want to tell us some of what you use?
So right now I have, my son will be going into 7th grade. I have a kindergartner going into 1st grade and a preschooler going into kindergarten. And we use The Good and the Beautiful. We also use Matthew C. and Fun Schooling journals.
All right, and Katie.
So yeah, we have 2 upcoming 5th graders, a 4th grader, a 2nd grader, and then 2 toddlers that are just doing everything everybody else is doing. And we are very, very eclectic. I can't even name one. We use teaching textbooks and all sorts of different things for reading and story of the world and all sorts of those fun things. If you guys want to see a whole rundown of all of our curriculum, you can check out my channel. And I have videos for this past year, what we've used, and then I'll be coming out really soon with what we're using for this upcoming year.
Yes, I think all of us have videos on our channels about our curriculums that we use. So we just wanted to kind of give you a brief description of kind of how we're doing this. So Leilani, you're next.
Yes. Okay, eclectic as well. And some of my favorite, Collegia, IEW, Make Math Cool, Truth Quest. I think, Keys to, check out my channel if you want to find out more about those. And yeah.
All right, and Ryan.
We are eclectic as well. We lean more toward the classical Charlotte Mason style. Saxon, we're dipping our toes into Sunlight this year, but I have videos on all of that if you're interested.
All right, Yasmin.
Out of the 4 kids, I'm homeschooling 3. They just finished 4th grade, 2nd grade, and preschool. And we are 90% master books, with the 10% just being a little bit of everything that I dabble here and there. But most of it is master books. And I just wrapped up my first year, so when I'm coming into my next year, we'll be probably doing master books in a little bit more eclectic style.
All right, and Colleen.
For my daughter who just finished 1st grade, we use mostly master books and The Good and the Beautiful with a teeny tiny bit of a Becca. And then with my high schooler, we use Shorban for math and science, Fluens for French. We've used master books, The Good and the Beautiful. We've used so many things, they're too numerous to count. But I do have several videos about the curriculum that we enjoy and we've used for different grades in high school.
Perfect. And Ingrid.
I'm also eclectic, very relaxed. We use a lot of different curriculums because I like to just pull from here and there. But the main ones that I normally use for history is Pathway to Liberty. For language, I use Rod and Staff. And for math is teaching textbooks. My daughter is 12 years old. We're currently starting our middle school or halfway through middle school. And basically that's what we're using right now, among other things.
How do I teach a subject that I know nothing about? We'll go with Colleen on that one.
Okay, so like I said, I have a high school student and she just finished up 10th grade. And as your children enter middle school and high school, there are going to probably be subjects that either you don't know anything about or you don't remember anything about. So maybe like your chemistry or your algebra or your geometry is far removed from you at this point in your life. And that's okay because you just find curriculum that works. So for instance, with my daughter Katie, we use an online program by Dr. Shorman. It's diveintomath.com is the website that we use. We really, really love it. I have a couple of review videos on my channel about that, but basically he ends up being the teacher and it just makes it very easy to, as a parent, just be more of a facilitator. And I would also say that as your child gets older and moves into middle school and high school, your role as a homeschool mom changes. You're really not the teacher in the same way that you were in kindergarten when you were teaching your child to read and teaching phonics. You're more of a facilitator and you're more of a, really your role changes more from being a teacher of a subject to being a teacher of how to learn. So you're teaching your child how to learn things, how to research. If you don't understand a concept in pre-calculus and the mom doesn't remember pre-calculus or never took pre-calculus or whatever it is, then you get on Khan Academy and you research and you learn and find out. And usually what happens with my daughter is she ends up teaching herself, or I'll point out like a silly math mistake or something like that. That's something like I actually do remember. And then she will kind of take it from there. But we spend a lot of time working more on learning how to learn and learning how to research. And I think that's really more, in my opinion anyway, that's more the takeaway, because if you can teach yourself how to learn, then you can teach yourself anything you want to, and you don't need your mommy beside you like for the rest of your life, because that's not how it works in college anyway.
Exactly. Ryan, I'm gonna give you the same question.
So yeah, I don't have high schoolers, but I do, some of the things that I choose to teach my kids, I was never taught. I was in public school. So for instance, we do Latin here, and I knew nothing about Latin before I started. But the great thing is you can learn alongside them when they are in those younger grades, when you are kind of walking them through things and they don't know how to teach themselves yet. You just pull out the textbook and you learn right along with them. I sing all the Latin songs right along with them and quiz myself as I'm quizzing them and see if I'm actually picking up on it. But also we use our co-op. I know those aren't what everyone loves to do, but our co-op teaches music. I am not musically inclined at all. So I give that to my co-op to take. And then there's also tutors. You can also find other moms who might be more educated in something than you are. And then, I mean, we have Google. I mean, I use it all the time.
I think we all use it all the time. Next question is, am I qualified to homeschool? I'm gonna give that one to Leilani and Ryan. Who wants it first?
I can go.
Okay.
So if you're thinking legally, I will definitely go straight to HSLDA. They will tell you per state if there's anything you need prior to starting to homeschool. I will say I kind of glanced at that. By and large, there aren't any certificates or anything you have to teach in school. Most states do not require that. Some states do require high school diploma, GED, and I think Washington might be a little pickier. I'm not sure on that. But my simple answer for that is, if you have it in your heart to homeschool and you love your kids, willing to put in the work, because there is some work involved, whether it be with your schedule or just with planning or whatever else, then you're more than qualified. I mean, I just believe that you're their mom, you know them the best, and if you care about them and their education, then we'll see what you need.
All right,
Yeah.
Leilani.
The mere fact that you gave birth or adopted gives you a right to it. I mean, it's a God-given right. It's not by accident, especially if it's laid in your heart to do it. I did, because we talked about this earlier, I did go on because I wanted to do some research before we did the interview to make sure I was in the know when it comes to parent qualifications, because the state of Florida, we're super lax. So I went up online, and there are actual states, which Ryan mentioned. There's 11 states: Georgia, New Mexico, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia requires parents to have some form of educational qualification in order to homeschool, or in the case of Tennessee, to homeschool high school. And I went to the Homeschool Legal Defense, let me get the acronym, H, you guys know it. Homeschool
HSLDA.
Yeah.
HSLDA.
HSLDA. It's a mouthful. I went to their website to confirm, like, up against it, and for some reason Tennessee looks like it's not just high school, but it seemed to be all grades you had to have a GED or a high school diploma. I wish, none of you guys are from Tennessee, are you?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys are from Tennessee and if you knew for sure. But that's something that you do need to check up with the Homeschool Legal Defense on their website. And I know on my channel, I'm going to link it down below. I don't know if you guys will link it as well. It's a really important website. I check everything with them. So most of it, like I said, Washington did seem to have a little bit stricter rules, but most of them was you have to have a high school. But really, like the other states, state of Florida, it doesn't matter. And I have had, like I said, I homeschool evaluate parents. I don't evaluate parents. I evaluate the students for the state of Florida, and I several parents make sure it's okay. They didn't graduate school. Can they homeschool? And the answer is yes, absolutely, in the state of Florida. So Yeah. And of course, oh yeah, and the other thing I was going to mention too is with the 11 states that I mentioned, if they do hire a tutor, the tutor also has to have their GED or the high school diploma, or whatever the laws say. And of course, you want to check if you ever hire anybody to tutor your child, you do want to make sure you're okay with them tutoring your child by doing your own interview, background check, because you as the parent are responsible and you're the teacher and you're in charge and you have the authority. So, yeah.
All right, the next question is, how do I know if I should have a daily schedule or a routine? We'll go with Katie.
Okay, so first of all, there are a difference between a daily schedule and a routine. One, when you have a schedule, it's usually tied to times in your day, whereas a routine is usually attached to a sequence of events. And so, every homeschooler is different. I will tell you up front, I heard this before I started homeschooling, and I think it's 100% true. It usually takes 2 to 3 years before you find your groove when it comes to the routine and schedule. And there are exceptions to that rule. You may just have a killer first year and just nail it all, and kudos to you. But don't beat yourself up. If it's kind of hard to figure out your routine and schedule, just keep persevering because you'll get there, I promise. And for us, it was exactly 3 years. On the 3rd year mark, I was like, oh, I feel like we kind of have an idea of what we're doing. So that's the first thing. For us, the routines were really hard to build. We have kids with special needs. We had a lot of extenuating circumstances. We moved during everything. And so what I found easiest to do for us, we are a routine family versus a schedule family. And what I found easiest to do was to attach things to things that are already part of your day. So for instance, even if you feel like you have the most unstructured day in the world, your kids probably at least eat breakfast, so attach your first school item with breakfast and then just build from there. And it's okay if you start slow. This is summer is the perfect time to start building your routine. So for us, after breakfast, we do our morning basket time. So we do Bible and a lot of read alouds and stuff like that. Just start with that this summer. That's really light, easy thing to do, and then you can kind of work through it. We also we kind of plan our schedule around our meal times. So we have breakfast, and then we do our morning basket, math, and reading. And we try to hit those core subjects and those subjects that my kids tend to kind of lose motivation in further in the day. We try to do those before lunch. So we have breakfast sometimes at 7 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes we have it at 9:30 or 10. And same thing with lunch. Sometimes we have it at 11:30, sometimes we have it at 1:30. And so we kind of let our schedule or our routine flow with that. And I think that that's been really helpful for us to kind of build it around there and just build it slowly. But I think give yourself a lot of grace because everybody does it different.
Very well said. All right, let's go with Ryan.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the same way. I started off those first couple years. I really wanted that at 8:30 we do this, at 9:30 we do this. And that worked for my very first year only because I only had a preschooler and a newborn. But after that newborn got mobile, it was like, forget about it. So we kind of do more of a block scheduling. So we have, and I mean, it's similar to Katie's, but we have kind of from 7-ish is when my kids are allowed to get out of their rooms, because otherwise they'd be up at like 5 a.m. and I'm not about that. That's my quiet time. So from like 7 to 9, they're allowed to get up, eat breakfast, do some chores, play a little bit if they want. And then right after breakfast, we clean up and we move on to our school day. And then right before lunch, we kind of have a little break. And in that morning chunk, we kind of do our together subjects. So that would be our science, our history, our read alouds, Bible, stuff like that. And then at lunch, we usually have some sort of audiobook going. And then I let them have a little break. And then we have our second block of work. And that's where I work with them independently. If the 3rd grader needs help with something, the 1st grader can do his independent work and then go play while I finish up. And then, we switch. And then typically our school day can be done that way. And I actually block off my entire day into the evening too, just because our family works best that way. But ultimately, I think you have to look kind of at your family and what you think your family would respond to and what you think you can uphold for the long term. And if something doesn't work, toss it out and try something new. It's going to take a while, but eventually you'll find your groove.
There you go. And Yasmin, how about you? You're muted, Yasmin.
Okay, so yes, I definitely agree with Katie and Ryan about the two different types of schedule. I'm very type A, and I kind of need to have some type of structure and control of what's happening because I kind of fall apart with chaos. So I do a block schedule, and it works best for me because that's the way I operate. And my kids come from public school because this was our first year homeschooling. So they were coming from a public school. So they needed to have some type of structure to kind of resemble a little bit of what they were going through. Because if not, it just felt like it was still vacation, you know, even though we took kind of like the summer to de-school. But they needed to know that when it was time for school, it was from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That was my block for school. You know, we started at 10 and at 2 o'clock we stopped school. So they needed to know that between those hours, those 4 hours, it was business, it was school, you know. And yes, we broke off for snacks and lunch, but hey, we're still in school time. So they need to come back to the school and do their work. And that's what worked for me. And I tried the per the minute schedule, and that didn't work. I tried the routine, and that didn't work. So definitely, if you're starting out, you're gonna come across lots of trial and error. The only way to find out what works is by trying it. And if it doesn't work, toss it, like Ryan said, and figure out the next move. Take in consideration who you are and who your kids are, and don't imitate nobody's schedule, but try to work for what works for your family, whether it's a routine, a block, or per the minute. If you're that type of person, that's what's going to work for you.
There you go. Well said. Okay.
Hey,
And
Becky, can I throw in one more thing?
yeah,
Sorry. I think another thing that's important, whether you're doing routine or schedule or whatever, is to remember that it's a guide and it's not your ball and chain. It's not something to be tied to in homeschooling. If you are not flexible, you will break so fast. It's not even funny. There will be times when you have doctor's appointments or somebody comes over and has a call, or one of your kids needs a heart-to-heart moment and it takes all day dealing with a character issue instead of math. So I think the big thing I had to struggle with was I felt like maybe a routine or schedule or whatever wasn't working if I couldn't do it every single day. And there's no such thing. I don't think for many of you guys, I don't think that there's such thing as a perfect one that works every single day without flaw. And so I think remember that the idea is it's something to come back to on the normal days. And on the abnormal days, you know, just go with the flow, and you can always get back. So for us, there are days where the morning just kind of all falls apart. Maybe everybody woke up late or whatever. And so we just kind of start back again with our routine, with our after lunch stuff. And sometimes we might just not do the rest of the morning stuff, you know, but it's kind of a way to get back on track. Maybe the whole day doesn't have to be thrown off. But I just think that's important to remember, that you have to go with the ebb and flow a little bit and use this as a guide, not as something you're tied to.
Okay, so in my questions, you also heard answers from Katie over at Our Mundane Life, Yasmin from Mommy on the Move, Leilani from Living with Eve, Colleen from Our Blessed Life. So make sure you also, other than the playlist, also check them out down below. I listed their channels down below as well. These are some awesome homeschooling mamas who have some great advice and tips and curriculum reviews and everything else you could ever want. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.